know there's a wrestler there's a wrestler. His name is Stephen Flo. And his whole thing.
I saw his fucking thing.
Stephen Flo.
Blah, 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 Flo.
Stephen Flo. Stephen Flo.
And his whole thing is just coming out to
Stephen
Flo and dressing like Kurt Cobain.
Yes. And that is why I love wrestling so much. And why, like, the indies will always be the best. Where the true heart of wrestling lives.
Now that is epic.
Yes.
But I've just seen the most sane version of a Doomsday Prepper commercial that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Would it be the EcoFlow?
EcoFlow! Delta 3 Plus 100 watts power station with the trolley and solar option.
You bet. For the low, high price of $800.
That's right. It's on sale from $14.69.
It's a computer tower that's a battery. It's a big ass battery.
It is a very, very large, heavy, because it comes with a trolley.
It does. It does. That is like a decent trolley too.
It comes with a little wheelie cart. It is a very heavy backup battery.
That you can have in the utility closet.
And plug in your refrigerator. And your electric griddle.
I know.
Go camping.
And it's sane. It's a sane thing to have.
And your Keurig.
Yeah.
Gotta plug in the Keurig.
I know. It's such a benign little scene to be in the middle of.
It is the
nice
most
suburbanites.
It is the most lefty-coded survivalist ad that I have ever seen in my entire life. Because I know that anybody can own a Keurig. I know that logically.
Sure.
But we know who people are laughing at when they buy a Keurig, us fancy lefty types that only want one cup at a time. Lord knows that's all I want.
Right? Who has time to let a pot of coffee rot? Sometimes you just want one cup.
Also, when I was single, I only needed one cup of coffee.
True.
I was wasting a lot of coffee. I only needed one cup of coffee. It is the most bizarre thing, and I do like that it comes with a wheelie cart and solar panels.
Yes.
Plug in a refrigerator.
I know. Which is what gives it away is like the prepper thing, the solar option. I'm like, oh no, this is for wackaloons who are like running out into the middle of the woods and must bring their phones with them and an electric griddle.
Yes.
Like you don't know how to camp.
I don't know how to camp, so yes.
It's either for that or for the bunker.
Yes, all of the above.
I know.
But in a way that doesn't feel threatening.
I know. When you
have it on interests of our population.
When you're showing it off with like the most mommest mom and daddest dad, like talking heads you've ever seen, like in the backdrop of a suburban banality, like not even the courage to be beige, just kind of like eggshell white. This eggshell white life.
This is like how you sell prepper equipment, but still let people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Like you could feel like you're not one of those types of people, but this is still prepper equipment. But in case you didn't know where you are, this is not the weird QVC hour, although it could, because there's some weird shit out there.
Right? And this is a safe harbor of strangeness and tackiness.
Yes, I am Samara.
And I am Jeannie.
And this is Talk Deadly to Me. Oh, are you ready to pick up where we left off for the tragic saga of Jeff and Jill Cahill?
Yes, and the Vice Pope. Let's go!
Patty sits on the right hand of God. Right hand, Jeannie.
Forcibly.
So where we last left off, Jeff had beaten Patty within an inch of her life.
Yeah.
And I mean that in all due reference. Usually when you say that, you're being hyperbolic. But this time, I mean it. An inch of her life.
Yeah.
Jill was finally admitted into surgery just after 7 a.m. The attack itself happened around 5-ish a.m., 5:30.
Yeah.
By the time the ambulance, yada, 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 it's just after 7 a.m. Even though the doctors and the SAVE team had called ahead to the trauma surgery center in Syracuse to let them know what they were dealing with, the doctors were still shocked when they saw Jill.
Oh, wow.
Like, she was so bad off that before they even did anything, the resident in charge called the neurosurgeon. Mm-hmm. He's like, I ain't even touching it. I need a guy over here
Yeah.
Like,
I need a grown-up, please.
Like, sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
But not like in the shady way, but it's like, oh yeah, I need real professional help.
Yeah.
I cannot do this. By the time the neurosurgeon had arrived, the resident did good work, and the trauma team had hooked Jill up to a breathing tube and a blood infusion drip. Wow. That's right. My girl is losing blood so quickly that she needs an infusion drip.
Dang.
Jill had been barely conscious when she arrived to the hospital, but by the time the neurosurgeon arrived, she was out cold. She's done. Mm-hmm. When Jill did move, because remember, she's unconscious, but she's there. She's responding to painful stimuli. Yeah. When she could move, she moved the right side of her body much better than the left side, which told the brain doctors that there's something wrong with the right side of her brain. Mm-hmm. Opposite side controls opposite side. A CT scan showed that Jill had a blood clot on her brain. Mm. She also had several skull fractures that were causing her brain to swell.
Oh, shit.
Most of the skull fractures were at the base of her skull underneath the brain.
Pig.
So hit from behind.
Yeah.
Most of the skin at the back of Jill's head was so damaged that it would just lift up off the back of her skull. Just like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Jill's sister Debbie got the call from Patty Cahill about 5:30 a.m. Mm-hmm. Patty told Debbie that there had been an incident at Jeff and Jill's house. Then Patty told Debbie that she had tried to call Fred and Joan, but had gotten no answer before telling Debbie that Jill was being rushed to the hospital with a stab wound in her head.
God, a stab wound in her head. Jesus.
Patty also made sure to mention that Jeff was also injured. Then she asked Debbie if she was going to go to work.
Oh my God.
And confirmed that she had her work number. That would be a normal response from anybody that's not Patty Cahill.
Right. Yeah.
If anybody else called me in the middle of the night and said a loved one had been injured, and then followed up with, I'm going to the hospital, but what's your work number so I can keep you informed?
Yeah.
That would, I would completely take that.
Yeah. That would be normal.
But it's Patty Cahill.
I know.
And I just know it's bad.
You're asking me for a weird reason. Not a reason that makes sense.
So Debbie's confused because Patty's just throwing this information at her. Who got stabbed in the head? What?
Yeah.
Jill?
What?
It's 5:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Who's in the hospital? Which hospital?
When Debbie tried to get more information out of Patty, the old crank just prattled on, saying that she and Jim had been worried that something like this would happen. And then hung up.
Oh my God.
Patty hung up the phone.
Cryptic ghoul.
Scared and confused, Debbie then called her parents and then called her sister-in-law to watch the kids. In unison almost, Debbie and her parents pack overnight bags and head out to Syracuse.
Hell yeah.
It was decided that Debbie's husband, Bill, would stay behind, stay home, go to work, help his sister with the kids, and do his level best to find out more information from the local police department 18 miles outside of Syracuse.
Yeah.
Because clearly Patty is useless.
Yes. Extremely.
So now Debbie and her parents are off to Syracuse. Because that's where the team rushed Jill. Yeah. There's no point in trying to take her someplace more local.
No, God.
By the time the Russells got to the hospital, Jill was in surgery. It is now 1:30 p.m. After surgery, Jill's doctors told the Russells that they had to repair multiple skull fractures, that Jill's cheekbones and arms had all been broken.
Oh my God.
Because of the swelling and the blood clot in her brain, they had to remove a large part of Jill's skull.
That's rough.
That skull fragment was going to be warehoused
Jesus.
until Jill healed enough for it to be reattached.
Wow.
They couldn't leave it because it was putting too much tension
Yeah.
and contributing to the swelling on the
Yeah.
brain. So she's got like a concaved head,
Yeah.
like off the side.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't. They're just going to warehouse
Yeah.
that skull. I have never heard somebody go, I'm going to warehouse a skull
I
fragment
know.
before. I'm like, that can't be good. That's bad.
Yeah.
The blood clot that would be removed from Jill's brain was as large as the doctor's palm.
Oh my God. Oh, that is so gross.
And this was not, and he was not a small man. He's guy size, let's say 5'10",
Yeah.
6 feet. Big old man paw.
Yeah. That must have
This-
taken so much pressure off her brain.
Before
Removing that.
leaving, the Russells tried to wrap their heads around what had happened to Jill.
Yeah.
The doctor told them that, look, from what little bit I know, her husband attacked her with a bat.
Yeah.
That notwithstanding, the next 48 hours for her is going to be critical. If Jill survives this, she actually has a fighting chance to live
Yeah.
through this. Jill's surgery would last for half a day.
Dang.
When it was over, Jill was admitted to the neurology intensive care unit.
Mm-hmm.
When the Russells were finally allowed to see her, they were devastated.
Mm.
Their sweet little girl was covered in bandages to the point where they couldn't see her face.
Aw, yeah.
Her head was twice its normal size.
Mm-hmm.
And the cast on her arms, and then she's hooked up to all these tubes and IVs, and she's strapped to a bed.
Yeah.
The Russells were told that Jill was going to be kept into a medically induced coma
Yeah.
because her injuries were so severe that they needed her to stay perfectly still
Wow. Damn.
if she was ever going to have a shot at healing from this.
Mm-hmm.
Not even like the twitches of being cold or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would
You have to be completely unconscious.
So they medically induced coma, strapped her to a bed completely still.
Wow.
Once they were sure that Jill was as settled as humanly possible in this moment, the Russells checked into a hotel right next door to the hospital
Mm-hmm.
and prayed for Jill's recovery.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
After they checked into the hotel, one of Jill's neighbors came by to visit. She had heard what had happened to Jill on a police scanner and wanted to check in with her friend.
Aw.
That is the type of small town that we are dealing with.
Yeah.
People just keep the scanner on because why the fuck not?
Yeah. They're nosy. They gotta know.
When the Russells told Jill's friend that Jeff had beaten Jill about the head and neck with a bat, Jill's friend was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
She had heard that Jill had been hurt on the scanner,
Yeah.
but she had assumed that the Cahill's feud with those city slicker neighbors had come to a head.
Oh. Yeah.
Jeff had done such a thorough job of convincing people
Yeah.
that the neighbors were the problem. That the first thing this woman thought was that neighbor went off the deep end.
Yeah.
And hurt
oh my
Jill.
God. The planning of it all.
Yeah.
Sick. It's so sick.
Tom would come to the hospital because he's a good boyfriend. He's a good Sancho. Like, don't have a Sancho.
I know.
But if you're going to have Sancho, I guess he should be Tom.
Yes.
He told the Russells that he'd had plans to have lunch with Jill later that day, and they were going to work out the logistics of her move the following weekend. 1 foot out the fucking door.
I know, right? It's the most dangerous time.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is what they say is the most dangerous time is
Yeah.
when you're getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
Jill's old boyfriend, the guy that grew up to be a DA,
Oh, shit. Yeah.
he found out what happened to Jill through work. He came by to visit.
Aw.
He kicked Jill's ass and he was still like, is everything okay?
I know. I never did that. Yeah.
Like, Jill left him because he was possessive and abusive, and he was like, is everything okay?
Oh
Are you guys good?
Yeah.
What can I do? Do you need help?
Mm.
That is a testament to the profound decency of Jillian Russell Cahill.
Yes.
That
I think so.
Even her abusive asshole ex-boyfriend is like, is everything okay? Oh dear God.
Yeah.
What strings do I have to pull in my capacity as a district attorney
exactly
to help through this? That is a testament to what a good person she is.
Yes. 100,000%.
But in addition to helping comfort the Russells, seeing if they need anything, he also gave them the lay of the land to help them be prepared for the litany of legal issues that are probably going to come out of Jill's assault.
Yeah. Mm.
I mean, her parents told him what happened as far as they knew, and he was like, okay, so this is an assault case. And in an assault case, this is what happens, this is what happens, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Expect these types of sentences, this possible plea bargain.
Yeah.
Get yourself an attorney, yada, 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 but this is what you can expect for this kind of thing. He also told the Russells that Jeff's bail hearing would be set for 9 a.m. on Tuesday. So it's like a day and a half later. Mm-hmm. This happens on like a Sunday night, Monday morning. Mm-hmm. So 9 a.m. on Tuesday, Jeff is going to try. He's arrested.
Yay.
Fairly on the spot. He's charged with assault, arrested, and that means he gets to go for the bail hearing. Mm-hmm. Hooray.
Yeah, I know. Justice.
Meanwhile, Jeff is in the hospital as well. He got like 4 stitches or something.
He cut himself with his knife? He bit himself?
It's a nail, but we'll talk about it later. But yeah, he went to a local hospital.
Oh.
Into town. He didn't have to go all the way to trauma.
Yeah, true.
And he got like 4 stitches.
Yeah.
And after he got his stitches put in, he was arrested for assaulting his wife.
Good.
After his arrest, Jeff was taken to the police headquarters for questioning. And while in questioning, Jeff laid out his confession. Mm. He said, quote, I reside with my wife, Jillian Catherine Cahill, and 2 children, Tim, age 10, Mary, age 8. Over the past several months, my wife and I have been preparing for separation. She was unhappy with the marriage. Part of the problem seemed to be possible infidelity on her part. Over the last month or so, Jill had awakened me 3 times at night, grabbing my face, turning it towards her, and then screaming or yelling at me. She also grabbed a twine necklace at one time and pulled it, causing a rope burn on my neck. She had also scratched my face at that time. I discussed this with my parents, and they advised that I should get up and get out, just get away from her. I also showed my parents the rope burns and scratches. Mm-hmm. Last night, April 20th, 1998, Jill went to bed around 7 p.m. She seemed down. I went to bed around 10:30 p.m. in the same room and the same bed as her. They're separating, but their house is small. Where else are they going to sleep?
I would sleep on the couch.
I mean, there are sofas, there are floors, but I also understand the logic of...
like, I'm not going to blame her.
I'm not going to blame anybody if they're still sharing a room.
Exactly.
But, yeah, there are sofas, there are floors.
There's options.
There are air mattresses.
Yeah.
There are things that you could do, but I'm not going to throw shade on either one of them for sharing a room. She was asleep or appeared to be asleep at the time. Around 4 or 4:15 a.m. this morning, April 21st, 1998, I was awakened by Jill. She grabbed my face and wrenched me over and over, and then grabbed my arm and held me down. She was saying words to the effect of, I'm not going to live here. I can't go to the P&C or something like that, indicating that she no longer had a life here. I don't know what the P&C is.
Yeah. What?
Whatever. He's pulling all of this out of his ass.
Yeah, true.
I then got up and went downstairs. She followed me and was yelling at me. Our daughter Mary came to the top of the stairs, and Jill went up and brought her down. Jill then took Mary upstairs and put her to bed in our bed, and then came back downstairs. I went into the kitchen and was standing near the refrigerator. Jill came into the kitchen. The argument continued. Jill went to the opposite side of the room, where on the counter and there was a crock pot and several knives. Spoons, ladles, whatever. Some sort of a thing. Jill picked up a knife from this pot. Sort of like a fillet knife with maybe a 6 or 7 inch tapered blade. On March 30th, 1998, Jill had taken a knife and held it to her own chest. She also took some kind of pills.
Okay.
I thought she was going to do something like that again, threaten suicide. The knife wasn't very sharp, but it was pointed. I tried to take the knife from her. She struck me, cutting my left forearm. I got hold of her in a position with her facing away from me with my arms around her and forced her out of the back door of the house into the mudroom. As we were going out, she called out to the children, "Call the police! Your father is trying to kill me!"
A fact! Finally!
Honestly, I don't think she had enough time to say that. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I pushed her towards the floor and we wrestled a bit. She continued to call the children. I pushed up and turned away. She was on the floor face down. I saw several baseball bats hanging on the wall and grabbed one. I turned to face her again, and she was getting up facing me with her hands about her chest high. She still had the knife in her right hand. I swung the bat, hitting her on the left side of the head. As I swung, she raised her hands alongside her head. She started to move backwards, and I swung again. This time she went backwards, falling out the back door onto the concrete patio. I went into the house. My daughter Mary was just inside the back door, and I told her to go upstairs. Jill called to Mary, telling her to call the police. Your father's trying to kill me. Mary started upstairs, and Jill came into the house. I could see that she was hurt. There was blood on her left shoulder and the side of her head. I still had the baseball bat in my hands, and I swung again, hitting her on the shoulder. This blow deflected, also hitting her on the head. I swung 2 or 3 more times, and she went down on the floor. I then tried to hold her down. She scratched at me, scratching my back, and grabbed me by the balls. She ain't had time to do none of this. Jill called for Tim to call the police. Tim went upstairs. I told Tim to get upstairs and stay upstairs. Jim passed out or lost consciousness. She was moaning. I then called my dad and told him Jill came at me with a knife, that I hit her, and she was hurt real bad. He asked me if I had called SAVES, which is their local rescue unit that's not quite affiliated with 911, but here we are. I told him, no, please hurry. Dad said he would call SAVES. My mother and Kevin then came to the house. It took longer for them to get there than I expected. After they got there, my dad came in with a friend, Dr. Kelly. Dr. Kelly checked Jill. After that, SAVES came. Before anyone arrived, I went out to my car, a white Ford Taurus wagon, and got a rosary. See, it's Patty's child.
Yes.
Our black lab was also outside, and I chased him down and got him back in the house. I don't understand.
I know. It's a weird detail.
I got some towels and packed them around Jill to keep her warm. I also turned her head when she started to vomit. I could see that she was not doing good. I also went upstairs and talked to the kids to try to allay some of their fears. I told them that their grandparents were coming. I told Mary that I got cut a few times, but everything was okay. End quote.
Okay.
With his statement done, the
Yeah.
bullshit done, the statement done, the
Yeah.
bullshit done, the statement done. With the statement done, Jeff was read his Miranda rights. Then he signed and dated his confession before being taken to a holding cell.
Hmm.
The cops that read Jeff's statements called bullshit from jump.
Right? Good. Thank God.
This is not a person that's been hit 3 or 4 times.
No, not at all.
Did I mention that part of her skull is in storage until
I know.
she heals enough for them to put it back?
Yeah. No,
Like, they got every intention of putting it back, but they gotta wait.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great.
You gotta keep it moist and happy.
She's got a skull flap.
Yeah.
A skull flap.
I know, right? Poor baby. That's why she's in a coma.
Right? Yes, Jeff's had some injuries, but they all looked pretty self-inflicted.
Right? Especially that cut.
I'll probably repeat this later, but the cops are they find a nail sticking out of the wall near the mudroom.
That's what did it.
It's probably something, this house is over 200 years old, so it's just a random nail.
Yeah.
And
he's too lazy to fix anything in this place.
Right, so they think that he just ran his arms up and down this nail.
Yeah, makes sense.
For the cuts. Back at Jeff and Jill's house, the crime scene guys had found... I'm skipping that. The crime scene guys found the nail. I just said
Got it. Yes.
And they felt, yeah, he cut himself purposely. However you want to stitch that together.
Yeah.
The cops who interviewed Jeff that day were straight up with him. And they're like, you're lying.
Yeah.
And nothing you said matches what the crime scene people at your house are finding.
Yeah.
They even went as far as to be like, we noticed that all of your injuries are on the left-hand side of your body.
Sir, are you right-handed?
Yeah. He is. Jeff took a step back and decided to make the following amendment to his statement. While I was arguing with my wife in the kitchen, and after she pulled a knife from the pot on the countertop, I got Jill in a bear hug type position with her back to me. I got Jill out to the mudroom and down on the floor. I got up, got the baseball bat, and Jill was on her feet with the knife in her hand. I swung the bat twice at her, and on the second swing, I hit Jill on the head. I fell back and out the door. At that point, I heard Mary inside. I yelled to her that everything was going to be okay and go upstairs. I then thought Jill was hurt badly, and I felt I should help her. I then helped Jill back into the house and into the kitchen. I then ran back into the mudroom and got the knife she had and put it on the floor by the stove. I then got some towels from the kitchen area and helped Jill. The argument started up again, and Jill and I were wrestling again. That's when Jill scratched my back. Then I got the bat, which I brought in from the mudroom, and Jill tried to take from me. I got it from her and hit her in the head with it again. We continued to struggle, and again I struck Jill in the head with the bat. I would say I hit her 2 times while in the kitchen. Jill didn't have the knife during the struggle. After hitting her, Jill was just laying on the floor breathing very shallow. I then went into the basement and got some towels and wrapped them around Jill's head. While I was in the basement, I realized what was going on, and I could not believe this was happening. After putting towels around Jill, I went outside and cut a piece of garden hose using a knife I took from the kitchen. Not the same one Jill had earlier. I then set up the hose from the tailpipe of my white Ford Taurus from my white Ford Taurus station wagon to the rear window. I used duct tape to secure the hose. When I was in my car, I saw my rosary and decided I couldn't kill myself. I didn't know what to do. I could not believe what happened. I then went back into the mudroom and found a nail. I then put the scratches on my left shoulder and arm with it. I did this because I wanted to make it look like there was more of a struggle than there was. I was so afraid that Jill was going to die. That's when I called my father and talked to the children. I still don't know how I got the cut on my left hand, but I think it was sometime during the fight with Jill. End quote.
How the worm turns.
And he signed that statement. Like, there.
God. Yeah.
We're done, right?
Yeah, I can go home now, right?
He honestly believes this should be the end of it.
I don't doubt it. I mean...
He's just like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It matches. Her fault.
Yeah. I mean, he talked himself into doing this. He obviously thinks it is right and just, and you should let me do it.
I think that's Patty's fault.
Yeah.
I think when he called his parents, he told them exactly what he did and why. And Patty and Jim said, it's okay. It's her fault for being a whore.
Yeah, right?
Or
Yeah.
something.
She
to that
cheated
effect.
on you. Yeah. It was infidelity. So he stoned her.
Yes. And
Basically.
I do believe, I can't prove it with science, obviously. But I do believe some version of that conversation happened.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so plausible.
The Russells took their DA's advice, and they were front row center at Jeff's bail hearing. The DA, not Jill's ex, a different DA. She just happened to had dated a guy that was a DA before.
Yeah.
The DA in charge wanted to charge Jeff with attempted murder and asked for $200,000 bail.
Yeah. At the very least.
Jeff's lawyers asked for bail to be set closer to $25,000 and described Jeff as a pillar of the community who could be trusted to be released. Pillar of the community.
Don't believe it.
Don't believe the hype.
At all.
Don't believe the hype. The judge postponed his decision and scheduled another hearing for a week later. Instead of waiting a week for the hearing, Jim Cahill ponied up $100,000 for Jeff's bail. His brother Mark, I think, threw in like $50,000. Either way, they got up enough bail to get Jeff out.
Boo.
Meanwhile, Jill would stay in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks.
Wow.
The only real sign of life that Jill had was that when people spoke to her and she recognized their voices, she had one hell of a grip. So she let people know that she was in there.
Oh, good.
And she could hear them. Within a few days of having surgery, Jill was able to breathe on her own again.
Yay.
But sadly, the water that supports the brain started leaking out.
Ooh. That sounds awful.
And then they had to put Jill back on the ventilator. And at this point, she's still too badly injured for them to put in the missing piece of her skull.
Yeah. That would be hugely traumatic.
2 days after surgery, the Russells had the opportunity to pick up Tim and Mary for the first time since they'd come to town. On the ride back to the Cahill's house after school, Tim asked the Russells if they remembered the night his parents had a fight. Well, Tim told his grandparents that his dad had showed them his wounds. And the Russells stayed quiet. They're not going to disparage Jeff in front of these children.
Yeah.
But the way Tim was telling the story of how his dad got cut, it was clear that Jeff was blaming Jill for the fight.
Yeah.
And that's what Tim is parenting
back
to Grandma and Grandpa Russell. When the Russells dropped the kids off with the elder Cahills, Patty didn't ask about Jill. Didn't mention anything that what happened between Jeff and Jill. All Patty had to say was, "It's God's will."
Oh, God.
And now that this has happened, we'll be seeing a lot more of each other.
Oh, my God. Oh, how that woman didn't get punched directly in the throat, I don't know.
Joan and Fred Russell, but most specifically Joan, is a saint.
Yeah. They love those boys.
Because
Those
I feel
kids.
like under the circumstances, Joan Russell could have got away with some elder on elder violence.
Right? At the very least.
But it would have to be an even fight, like Joan versus Patty. None of the sons can jump in.
I know, right?
None of the husbands can jump in. If we want to have an old man fight between Jim the Third and Fred Russell, we can do that too.
Yes.
But it needs to be an elder on elder fight, and nobody can jump in.
Yeah.
That feels fair to me.
Yes.
Then Patty asked Debbie, "Why does Fred always do the driving? Every time you guys come, Fred drives.
Mm-hmm.
Why's your dad always drive?"
Hmm.
Debbie was like, "He likes to fucking drive. My sister's dying.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
That's a weird question.
Who drives where? My dad just likes to drive."
Right? That's so weird.
But as weird as this exchange was,
Yeah.
in this moment, the Russells are happy that the Cahills are there to take care of the kids and the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a feeling that would last very long.
Mm.
Before they headed back to their hospital, Debbie reminded Patty that after this incident, there was an order of protection against Jeff. Jeff is the prime suspect and has been arrested for his wife's assault. The court automatically put a restraining order on Jeff on behalf of Jill and the children.
Yeah.
Nobody asked for it. They just did it because of the circumstance. And because the kids are part of this restraining order, Debbie reminded Patty that Jeff isn't allowed to see the kids right now.
Yeah.
Patty promised, not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We got this. It is a promise this raggedy ass heifer would not keep.
Oh God, not even close.
No.
Hell no.
Not even a little bit.
Mm-mm.
All right. So while Jill is getting used to her new reality.
Oh God. Yeah. Is she out of the coma yet?
She's out of her coma, but she's still in a pretty bad way.
Yeah. She's like cocooned.
Yeah, she talks and stuff a bit. Her health is real up and down.
Yeah.
There are almost like 5 whole chapters.
Wow.
About her health challenges after that beating.
Yeah.
And she is real up and down for a lot of the time.
Mm.
1 minute she seems to be making this miraculous recovery, and then the next, there's swelling on her brain. We gotta put in a new shunt, and now the new shunt is fucking up a different thing. And now she's got this done and that done, and she's lethargic, and now we gotta do this. We gotta put back the skull flap. Oh fuck, we gotta take off the skull flap again. Da, 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 da. And then on top of all, and I'll probably repeat this later, but on top of all of that, with each new surgery, she has a tendency to catch meningitis.
Mm.
So every time they open her up for something.
Yeah.
And what they're opening her up for is generally life-saving shit.
Yeah. I'm guessing like emergency. Yeah.
Some of it's emergency, some of it is just repairing the damage.
Yeah.
Right? But every time they open her up, whether it's for an emergency or just to repair another piece of damage, she tends to come up with meningitis. So now she's fighting through the surgery, the healing process, her injuries, and meningitis infections.
That's a lot.
And so she's really up and down through a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could say there was a point where she was like 80% all the time, and there just isn't.
Yeah.
Like, when she's talking to her sister and telling her that she's scared that Jeff is going to finish her off, she's 80% that day. But then when they had to go do something else, she went right back downhill.
Yeah.
And had other health issues.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place. But as Jill's getting used to her new reality, I am happy to report that the grand jury indicted Jeff for assault and attempted murder. No muss, no fuss.
Thank God.
They're just
I
like,
was concerned it wouldn't be attempted murder. That would just be like assault and battery or something.
it was bad enough that it was like, yeah, this is attempted murder.
It overcame even our cynicism.
Yeah, no, it was
oh shit.
When the DA took the evidence to the grand jury, they're like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a crime of passion.
No.
This was intent.
Yeah, he meant to do that to her. This meant that Jill wouldn't have to testify and see that Jeff's defense was calling it self-defense.
Self-defense from an ego bruising. Self-defense for a little man made to feel small.
Yes.
You won't die from feeling like an asshole, dude.
I mean, it might feel like it. Ego death probably feels like actual death.
Good.
But it's not. I mean, we watched Hulk Hogan being booed on Raw on Netflix. I was watching an elderly man die. I witnessed ego death. But guess what? That racist fuck is still walking among us.
I know, but now we are one with the universe.
True, I'm just saying ego death may look and feel like death.
Yeah.
But it is not.
That's true. He walks among us.
He does.
Unjustly.
And self-defense is laughable because the cops could prove that Jill's memory of the attack is pretty much how it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'd been hit from behind while running towards the backyard, knocked down, beaten, and dragged back into the house.
That sounds right.
Which is when she did regain some of her memory after seeing the newspaper clippings and her family talking to her. As she did regain some of that memory, that's pretty much how she described it.
That's pretty badass. Because, like, I've known people who've been through bad car wrecks, and they have no memory of it. And, like, her injuries would put her in, like, one of the worst car wrecks.
Her injury, she had, as she's coming in and out of it, she had great long-term memory. But her short-term memory, especially around the events of that day, were really, really spotty. But as her friends and family told her things about her injuries, she started to recover more. So the brain is a weird thing.
It is a strange little sponge.
For his part, Jeff is still trying to blame this all on Jill. Because of course she is.
Because he's a bitch. Because he's weak.
When Jill's friend Martha called Jeff to get a bunch of Jill's Christmas ornaments, a lot of the stuff was handmade, Jill and the kids, heirloom type stuff. It may be cheap tchotchkes, but they're sentimental.
Yeah, they mean something.
And the thought of Jeff having a lot of that stuff made Martha sick to her stomach.
Good for you, Martha. Same.
Made her sick, and she wanted to get them away from Jeff so that she could pass them on to Jill's family appropriately.
Yeah.
She had no intention of, her and Jill are both Christmas freaks.
Aw, yay.
And Martha had no intention of keeping the stuff herself.
Yeah.
She just wanted to make sure that Jill's family got it.
Yeah.
And that her children would have access to Christmas memories of their mother. So she bit the bullet and she called this asshole. She didn't want to. She didn't want to talk to Jeff. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Oh, God, right?
But the thought of him having control of her friend's precious Christmas ornaments was way worse than sucking it up to talk to him.
Yeah.
During their call, Jeff moaned that he'd found out that Jill had been seeing somebody else. And the thought that she was cheating just cut him to the quick.
Psh. You can't cut someone to the quick when they are entirely hollow. There's no quick to be cut to.
True story. Now, Martha told Jeff she didn't care if Jill had fucked the entire Buffalo Bills team on her front lawn. That is a direct quote. That is not being
that is
not me being hyperbolic. It sounds like me being hyperbolic, but that was a direct quote.
Oh my God.
Martha said, I don't care if she fucked the entire Buffalo Bills team on her front lawn.
Right.
She didn't deserve what you did.
Yeah.
Divorce her. Move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave. You don't have to try to beat her to death.
Yeah. Dude, you're not even going to have to pay her alimony.
Right? She was honestly making separation and divorce easy.
Yeah.
She figured out resources and got the fuck out. Like,
yeah. Good for her.
And she was going to leave him with the house. She wasn't,
Yeah.
I mean, she wanted primary custody of the kids, but she wasn't trying to take them away from him.
She's a thoroughly decent human being, and he is a thing.
Now, Jeff is unfazed because Jeff Cahill, the Cahills at large, it's not even just Jeff, it is all of them.
Yeah.
The Cahills at large are some of the most socially oblivious and obtuse people I have ever had the displeasure to deal with. Even I didn't really have to deal with them in a personal way. So after he gets cussed out, it basically told, I don't care who she fucked.
Yeah.
She didn't deserve it. Jeff is unfazed and just kept whining that people haven't heard my side of the story.
Lord.
and could you give Jilly's hand a squeeze for me?
Oh,
You see her?
Ugh.
Martha told Jeff to fuck right the fuck off.
Good for you.
She was like, I'll beat you to death. How's that for a
Right?
squeeze?
We'll both go up for attempted murder.
I will find a python and have it squeeze you to death. How is that? Now that he had been properly indicted, Jeff decided to plead guilty at his arraignment. While Jeff is being arraigned, Jill was heading back into surgery because the shunt that had been installed to get rid of fluid on her brain was causing swelling, and that needed to be dealt with.
Oh, man, yeah.
Told you her shit was real up and down. And like I said earlier, after that surgery, she developed meningitis.
Yeah.
During this time, Jill would have 15 surgeries overall. With each new surgery giving her a heaping helping of meningitis for her troubles.
Yes.
During all of these surgeries, the Cahills wanted to take the kids for the annual Cape Cod trip. When the Russells told them that depends on their therapy schedule, school, and a couple of other things. Remember, the Russells got primary custody of the kids. The Cahills got them for that first week.
Yeah.
But then as the legal process is like, no, they should go with the non-Beatty parent.
Yes, right?
The non-Beatty side of the family.
Yeah.
The Cahills were under the impression that the therapy was a one-time thing.
Oh my God. Yeah, just one appointment just to talk.
That's why these are some of the most socially obtuse people ever. They were legit taken aback. What do you mean they gotta go back? They're kids. They'll get over it.
Yeah. Also, I think they just don't value Jill and can't imagine those kids valuing her any more than they do. They're so selfish and so, I don't know if it's oblivious or just uninterested in the rest of the world and they're in a point of view outside their own. These are really small people.
The best way I could describe them is the Cahills are a very insular little clan.
That's the word. Insular.
Now, the Russells are put in, like I say, that they were shocked at how out of touch the Cahills were.
Yeah.
Why would you think?
Yeah.
It would only be one session.
I mean, it's so cold-blooded. It's such a reptilian thing to think that, these kids were present as their mother was nearly beaten to death by their father.
Even if they didn't come downstairs, they heard that shit.
Yeah. Or just living in that household.
Low-key, I think the kids definitely heard it. And I think they may have seen a lot more than we know, and that's why they weren't curious about looking as they left the house.
Yeah.
Because they had already seen it.
Yeah.
I
And they don't want to see anymore.
Well, no, I think that when Jeff called his family, the kids came downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And it may have been like, Tim, get me some towels type shit.
Yeah.
The kids...
Some light coaching.
Yeah.
Oh, your mommy did this. Your mommy said this.
Oh, we'll get there. But calling the Cahills out of touch is a bit too kind.
Yeah.
Friends of the Cahill family, that's right, they had friends. These are the people that like them.
Wow.
Probably from their church.
Yeah. Other judgmental assholes with no personality or joy.
Even those other judgmental assholes with no personality or joy found the Cahill's treatment of the Russells to be callous at best.
Wow. Yeah.
Other times, downright cruel.
Yeah. Almost monstrous.
And these are their friends. These are the people from their own friend group, from their parish. I refuse to believe they got friends outside the church.
No. They've just got people who've known him a long time. Neighbors and parishioners. Yeah.
Friends of the Cahills reported that Mark, I think his name is Howdy.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Or is he Nipper?
These names. I don't know.
He's not Weasel.
Howdy
John
Dolly.
is Weasel.
Yeah. Howdy Dolly, Nipple, Weasel.
John is
Mirror
Weasel.
unit.
That's the one I can remember. John is Weasel. James is Jeff. Is Kevin Howdy? Nah, whatever. One of them is Howdy, and I think it's either Mark or Kevin.
One of the boxcar children.
So Mark had grown up to be a very wealthy and successful stockbroker. Mm-hmm. Sent the Russells a series of overdue parking tickets that he said that Jill ran up when she borrowed his Jeep 8 months before the attack.
Oh my God.
It would later come out that Jill was nowhere near Mark or his Jeep in the time frame that these tickets were issued. So why is a millionaire sending overdue traffic tickets to the family of his dying sister-in-law? Like, that is it's a level of cruelty even their friends don't understand.
Yeah.
And I submit that the Cahill's friends are just as fucked as they are. And so for those people to be like, bro.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I know. To treat anyone like literal garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And why?
And the weirdness with the Cahills didn't start or stop with the parking tickets. Once the Russells were hanging out at Camp Jill.
Yes.
Which is what they call the McDonald's guest house.
Oh, nice.
The friends that are letting them stay, they call that their little guest house Camp Jill.
Nice.
And Debbie noticed Jim Cahill, the dad, lurking around the McDonald's driveway. Mm-hmm. She got up, went to go talk to him, but by the time she got up to say hello to him and came back, he was gone. Disappeared. Like a thief in the night.
Yeah. Like a weirdo.
And so Tom McDonald, the owner of the house, is like, you know what, I'll just call them and see what they want. I don't know why they didn't just knock or...
Right? No, that would be normal.
I mean...
That would be something a balanced, like, decent human being would do.
Right, so to set the scene, the Russells and the McDonalds are outside sitting by the McDonald's pool at Camp Jill. Mm-hmm. They got a pool. There's like the back house is right behind the pool. The main house is in front of the pool in the backyard.
Yeah.
So they're just lounging, kicking it. Mm-hmm. Debbie notices Jim Cahill and she goes, hold on, I think that's Jim Cahill. Let me see.
Yeah.
And then she gets up and she sees him drive away, just like poof.
Yeah.
And when she gets back to everybody else, they're like, where's Jim? Mm-hmm. Assuming that Debbie was going to unlock the gate, let him in, and they would have some sort of conversation. Yeah. And she was like, I don't know. He just drove away. So Tom McDonald calls Jim Cahill to see what he wanted. And Jim said that he had wanted to check on the kids and take Tim to Pizza Hut. Just Tim, not the girl.
Okay.
The Cahills refer to Mary as the girl.
Really?
I'm sort of burying the lead here, but the Cahills don't find value in women that aren't Patty.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm like... I'm not surprised, but I thought they would value her because just in order to keep her away from the other family.
That is the only value they have in Mary. They value Mary only slightly more than Jill. Mm-hmm. Because she's still technically theirs.
Yeah.
But they don't value her as much as they value Tim.
Yeah.
That's why Jim had come to take Tim to Pizza Hut, not the girl. Tim, they use his name. Mary is the girl.
Wow. That's pathetic.
Later that day, their uncle Kevin, a.k.a. Howdy, I knew it. Mark is Nipper. Kevin is Howdy.
Okay.
I knew one of these assholes was named Howdy.
Yeah.
And Kevin, Howdy,
Yeah.
had called to arrange to take the kids to mass the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
But the kids' therapist advised against any alone time with Uncle Howdy because she was suspecting that he was the main cause of feeding the kids negative information about their mother and the Russell family.
Yeah.
When Mary's birthday rolled around on July 15th, none of the Cahills came to the party.
Yay! It was a great party.
Blessing in disguise.
I know.
But that's also fucking cruel.
It is.
She's a 9-year-old little girl.
Yeah.
Go fucking see your granddaughter, you sacks of shit.
I know, right?
But I bet you they showed up for Tim's birthday.
Oh, for sure.
Which is in the fall, but that's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Mary's birthday comes first doesn't mean that you don't...
Mary is a female possession. Tim is a full human being and our grandchild.
I'm telling you, Patty is the only woman they find value in. And that's because they're scared
Patty
of her.
makes sure she's the only woman they find value in.
Because she scares the shit out of them.
Good.
Every single last one of them is probably afraid of her.
Well, I'm good.
Can you imagine
Suffer.
waking up in the middle of the night with this bird woman that is Patty Cahill crouched on the... I remember like crouched on like the edge of your bedpost. Count it off, that's more dead.
If I was their child, they would have put me in foster care by the time I was 5 and able to give a substantial mule kick.
That and you're a girl.
True.
No,
We
Patty...
believe in abortion in certain cases.
No, Patty does really think that giving birth to 5 or 6 boys, however many, I don't care anymore, giving birth to nothing but boys makes her the ultimate mom.
God, ew.
She really does feel that.
That's sad.
If she wasn't some sort of chosen vessel,
I know.
she would not have given birth to nothing but creatures of value.
Oh my God. Could you imagine, like, making that your personality and your self-worth?
And all of it in
Weird.
sensible shoes and an unlined wool skirt.
Good. I hope it itches.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
In the early parts of their marriage, the only thing that Jill and Patty had in common that wasn't antagonistic is their love of fashion.
What?
Yeah. Patty grew up with a couple of dollars, right? She is reputation rich.
Yes.
Even though she is clearly at this point in her life working class, maybe a little upper middle,
Yeah.
right? But she came from a few more dollars than what she presently has. And her mother had a fantastic wardrobe because she came from a couple of dollars. And all of those clothes got handed down to Patty. So Patty had all of this fantastic shit from the 50s and the 60s. And Jill, being a bit of a fashion plate herself, would often borrow some of these vintage pieces.
I'm surprised.
From Patty.
I'm surprised Patty allowed it.
Well, Patty won't wear them because taking any kind of pride in your appearance or something is somehow a sin.
That isn't Catholicism anymore. This is Puritanism. This is pure New England. New Englandishness.
But those were the only things that they had in common. Patty liked to see the stuff being used.
Okay.
And Jill's got her little funky fashion thing, and she was able to incorporate those pieces and make them her own.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they have in common.
Wow. Huh.
It ain't much.
I know, right?
I submit Jill could have gone thrifting and got a bunch of the same shit, but whatever. Later that night, the McDonald's got a call from a Cahill family friend who said that Jeff is very sorry for what he had done. Tell the Russells that he's sorry.
Oh, God.
And in a fucked up way, I think the Cahills think that's enough.
Yeah.
We'll send somebody to say sorry.
Yeah.
They'll accept the apology. The indictment, everything will go away, and we all just move on with our lives. is what they
Yeah,
think.
I agree, because like just based on like the way they treat her and people, I can see it as like, yeah, sorry I hit your dog. It's like, why don't you get over this? She's your daughter. It's not like, we hurt your son.
They don't like him either. They don't like David either. They don't like Jill's one and only brother David because he's fat.
Oh, hilarious.
And I don't even think David is like fat so much as he's just a big dude.
Yeah.
But they think he's fat.
Yeah. He probably makes them feel small.
Yeah, no, the first time Jeff met David, he said, Jill didn't tell me that you were fat.
God. This is what happens when you don't socialize with anyone outside your family.
And what was funny is that Jill had made a point to tell Jeff about her little big brother. Mm-hmm. So David, even though the rest of the Russell family are kind of like the tall side of average, mm-hmm. like Jill taps off at 5'10".
Yeah.
Debbie's about the same height, about 5'8". Mm-hmm. Her mom's around 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
Her dad's about 6'2". Mm-hmm. They're all on the big side of average.
Yeah.
And David is the bigger person out of a family of large people. Mm-hmm. So she was like, oh, you get to finally meet my little big brother.
Yeah.
And Jeff was like, oh, she didn't tell me that you're fat. But he's just a big guy.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he made that jab because David is a big guy that made him feel little.
Yep.
Because Jeff
mans better than I do.
Yeah. And that's why he was kind of an ass to him.
Jealous bitch.
So 4 days after Mary's birthday, Kevin, a.k.a. Howdy, called again asking to take the kids to church. But the Russells told him that they would be taking the kids to church that Sunday.
Oh.
And Howdy Cahill cussed Fred Russell out so bad. He called him everything but Fred Russell and the child of God.
Wow. I believe it.
It is... I didn't know a Catholic could curse like that.
Are you kidding me?
No, not these observant ones.
Are you kidding me?
Maybe I don't know enough Catholics.
I don't know. It's like the one sin we're allowed. It is that and drinking. Mm-hmm.
But Fred is no shrinking violet. So when Jim Cahill came to the house demanding to know why Fred was yelling at Howdy, because Jim must have been listening in on the extension or something. And so he comes over to the McDonald's house. Why are you yelling at my boy? Fred laid into him. Fred read Jim chapter and verse about how sick Jill is. And that the Cahill family had never even bothered to check in on her or send her a card once they got her into an ambulance.
Low lives.
He cussed him out. He was like, bring it, motherfucker.
Good.
Bring it.
I'll fight you now.
Again, old man on old man action.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the same age group. My vote is for Fred Russell.
Yes.
This man is a veteran and a lifelong mill worker.
Yeah. And also motivated by so much more rage than these petty little bitches could imagine.
Jim Cahill is a stockbroker. Soft.
Yes, real soft. Soft and squishy.
I bet, you know what, I would have let Fred Russell beat the fuck out of Jim Cahill and told Jim he better be happy he makes enough money to pay these medical bills that this old man about to put on you. Man. Patty came by to try to smooth things over.
Oh, good Lord.
She is of no help.
I mean, obviously.
Patty's idea of calming things down and smoothing it over was to tell Joan Russell about how much Jeff loved his kids. Mm-hmm. And to prove it, Patty told Joan about the time that Mary had hit her head.
Yeah.
Roughhousing with Jeff.
Yeah.
She had hit her head, busted her little head a little bit, and she needed like 2-3 stitches, so she had to go to the hospital. And Jeff passed right the fuck out at the sight of his little girl's blood. If that isn't love, what is?
What?
This is Patty making nice.
Wow.
Now, being an actual good Christian.
Yes.
Joan Russell resisted the urge to beat Patty Cahill to death and bury her body underneath the McDonald's pool.
Right?
To which they probably would have helped.
Oh, hell yeah.
And she reminded Patty that Mary wouldn't have needed those stitches in her forehead if Jeff hadn't been roughhousing so much with her.
Right? Roughhousing. I throw up my little scare quote fingers.
Yeah. Whatever it was, Joan calls it roughhousing. Whatever it was, the game or whatever they were playing went too far. Mary fell, hit her head, needed stitches.
Yeah.
Jeff, as the adult, should not have let whatever it was go as far as it did.
Yes.
But here we are.
Mm-hmm.
But he passed right out from the sight of his little girl's blood.
Right, sure.
That is love, Jeannie.
Right? This kind of weakness is the good kind. It's the loving kind. Where you injure your child and pass out from responsibility.
Man, the only thing more pathetic than that is when he got caught stealing that lobster.
Yeah.
Steaks and a couple of shrimps.
So weird.
And he laid on the ground and begged Jill not to tell his mother the fetal position.
He's such a weird, stunted little man.
All of them are. Mm. Patty Cahill got 6 little man babies.
He does.
6 big little man babies. Mm-hmm. We are focusing on Jeff because this is the Jeff and Jill story.
Because he's the king baby.
But each and every last one of those boys is just as bad as Jeff.
Yeah.
Maybe varying degrees. Mm-hmm. But they're all stunted in the same way.
Yeah.
Jill would be in the hospital for 3 months before the official custody battle got underway. Mm-hmm. The Russells were suing for primary custody, and so were the Cahills. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, by this time, the kids were in full-time counseling. Good. No thanks to Jeff.
Right.
He was supposed to put up money to pay for their counseling, and he never put the funds into escrow. Mm. It was like pulling teeth to get him to put in the money to give his kids therapy.
Yeah. What unemployed bum?
Well, of course, Patty and Jim were actually paying for it. But in any event, it was like pulling teeth to get the Cahill family to help their grandchildren through one of those horrifying things anybody can experience.
I know. They don't want to counsel or unbrainwash those kids. They don't want those kids to have like an accurate view of what happened.
Right? And the kids were beginning to open up a bit. Tim understood that his mother was really sick, and his dad may not be around for much longer. Mm.
Yeah.
Because he might get in trouble.
And go away.
For what happened to your mom.
Yeah.
So he understands it. And they are 8 and 10, 8 and 11?
Yeah.
9 and 11, something like that?
Yeah.
So he understands it in a very 11-year-old way.
Yeah.
That my dad hurt my mom, and he may have to get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
And because of what my dad did, my mom is super sick.
Yeah.
Mary is described as being Pollyanna on eggshells, which is why I suspect they're always just calling her the girl.
Yeah.
Her only value is almost like, this is me watching too much Sister Wives, keep sweet.
Yeah. Fawning.
Right. Mm-hmm. If she is not the consummate, happy, plucky, cute little girl, she gets nothing.
Yeah.
Because why else would the therapist call her Pollyanna on eggshells?
I know. That's just horrifying. Like the psychological torture that gets you into that pretzel.
I feel better. I was burying the lead because I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
That is why I think they hold no value in Mary.
Yeah.
Mary's only value is staying with the Cahills, but outside of keeping her in the fold, they place no value on that child.
Yeah.
That's how you get a Pollyanna.
And that's at best. I'm hoping they only just place no value. Otherwise, she's constantly the scapegoat and picked on.
When I hear Pollyanna on eggshells, that just gives me the vibe that this little girl has to be always, keep sweet, nice, pleasant, polite, cute, well-dressed. And if she is not
obedient,
there's probably some sort of hell to pay.
Yeah.
Most likely in the form of neglect.
Yeah. Or berating.
But if she's not the perfect little princess, whatever affections they can bother to give anybody will not be bestowed on Mary.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
That's awful. Yeah, that is awful.
When he spoke to the therapist, Jeff thought that the day of Jill's assault was just another day and the kids will be fine coping with just another day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, dude, you're a psycho, so.
Yeah. Right? A religious psycho, which is almost like the worst kind.
I know. Ugh, the sanctimoniousness of being like a piece of shit to everyone and thinking this is what God wants.
Yeah, like I can handle like the psychosexual assholes.
I know, right? A little bit.
Well, they're still assholes, but I'm like, oh, this is a kink. This is where this is coming from.
Yeah.
Like, it's not right, but I understand why we're here.
Yeah.
But this religious shit, ugh.
I'm God's chosen. I'm God's favorite boy. I'm his favorite best boy.
And my mom told me, and she sits on the right hand of God.
She does.
I bet you she pushes people out of that pew.
I know, but God wants her near his smacking hand.
No. Patty doesn't push people out of that pew anymore.
No,
because she's been in that pew for so long that people just know not to touch it.
Yeah.
For their part, the Cahills were claiming that because they were closer to the kids, y'all can't hear my eyes rolling on that one. Tim, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's a big maybe. Because even though he's more valued by being a boy, I have no doubts that they would berate and neglect him if he got out of line. Even though he's...
Emotional terrorism.
Even though he's slightly more valuable because he's a little boy.
But let him find a playboy and see what Patty does to him.
She will put him in front of the altar of our Virgin Mother and make him pray all day.
Yep.
All day.
Absolutely.
Luckily, he's a little on the young side for that, so, only just, though.
I know.
Another year.
Yeah.
The Cahills were claiming that because they had more money and were closer to the kids, they could provide a better life.
No. Nope.
And thus, the fragile truce between the Cahills and the Russells is officially over. No one is playing nice anymore.
Right.
Everybody has picked their camps and their sides, and we're officially at war.
This is Sparta!
Yes.
Yeah.
We are officially at war.
Mm-hmm.
The Russells would be awarded temporary custody of the kids, but that didn't stop the Cahills from firing shots at the Russells.
Of course.
So, from Patty going to the school to prevent Joan and Fred from picking up the kids, saying that she is in charge of the kids.
Ugh.
The school, the Cahills are playing fast and loose with a lot of shit, right?
Yeah.
So, the Russells have full temporary custody.
Yeah.
I'll probably repeat this, but the Cahills have visitation every other week.
Yeah.
Or every other weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like a variation of a 50-50. Mm-hmm. But those things take time. It takes time for the courts to get that information to the school and this, that, and the other. And yes, the Russells will take that paperwork and stuff to the school, but they're also dealing with their very, very injured, sick baby.
Yeah.
So they may be a little bit slower to get certain paperwork to the schools. Mm-hmm. And the Cahills take advantage of that. And Patty had Jeff write a letter to the school for the principal saying that the Russells couldn't have access to the kids.
Fraud!
Because...
Commandment breakers!
But like the 72 hours between when the custody is sort of settled and the first day back at school is when Patty sends that letter over to the school?
Yeah.
I doubt it was more than 72 hours.
Yeah.
The Russells had to go take paperwork from the court to the school.
Yeah.
So that they could know Patty and Jeff are fucking liars.
Yeah.
Here's the official custody order.
Yeah.
The Cahills took the kids back to the crime scene.
Oh my God.
To use the pool.
Ew. That is so nasty. That is so nasty.
Why can't they use the pool in the place where their mother was nearly beaten to death?
Yeah.
Yeah. Use the pool. What's crazy is there's a perfectly good pool at the McDonald's.
Oh, of course. But again, like, Jill is just a dog. Who, not even an obedient good dog.
Jezebel.
Exactly.
She was struck with the spirit of Jezebel.
We don't care about her, and these kids aren't going to care about her. And we'll make sure they don't care.
Kevin, a.k.a. Howdy,
Yeah.
would take the kids for hikes where they would meet their dad in secret.
Ew.
Remember, Jeff is on a restraining order.
Yeah.
He is not supposed to be nowhere near these kids.
Yeah.
And the Cahills agreed.
How terrifying for those poor kids.
The Cahills were so bold that more than a few people saw Jeff sitting in the car with Patty when she would take the kids out to run errands. Because, if he stays in the car where she takes Tim to go get a haircut,
Yeah.
it's not really breaking. He's going to get back in the car with Jeff.
Yeah.
Idiots. I mean, nobody really expected the Cahills to be honorable and keep up
I
their
know.
end of the bargain.
But to be that sloppy.
I mean, Catholicism be damned.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even think it's sloppy. It is, they truly believe that they are above the law and what they say goes. They truly believe that.
Yeah. That's so delusional.
They truly believe that the Russells should just be happy that Jeff sent an apology through a third party and that he loves his kids and they should let it go. They really believe that.
I don't doubt it.
It's disturbing.
It is. Ugh. Actually, it's insufferable.
It's insane.
Yeah.
What other I words can we use? No. Ouch. The Cahill's countersuit for custody almost upended Jeff's attempted murder defense.
Oh, yeah?
Because remember, he's saying self-defense.
Yeah.
Because if he's saying it's self-defense, that would mean that he would have to testify in family court if the custody hearing happened before his criminal trial. Family court always moves faster
That's true.
than criminal court.
As well it should.
Right? So his lawyer's like, no, y'all can't fight for custody too hard.
Yeah.
Because if you do, and the criminal trial comes later, Jeff will have to testify in family court about that night. And anything he says about that night can be turned on him in the criminal proceeding later. Y'all really need to calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Or you're going to fuck up his defense. So the Cahills dropped the custody suit.
Yay.
But that didn't stop them from being psychos.
Of course not.
In spite of all of this nonsense, the Russells would keep their end of the bargain and the custody agreement, allowing the Cahills to see those kids every other weekend. It's nuts.
Yeah. I know.
It's like, no, don't let them have them at all.
I know.
But then the Russells will be in trouble, and the last thing I want is for
I know.
Fred and Joan to get warrants for some minor beef in the midst of all of this. It's still horrible.
I feel like if this happened in the age of cell phones, there would be so much psychotic evidence caught on tape.
If this was happening when camera phones and smartphones were more ubiquitous, both sides would just be filming each other constantly.
True.
We would have Ring doorbell footage, we'd have cell phone footage,
Yeah.
we would have images for every fucking fight. With Jim Cahill coming up to the door to yell at somebody, we'd have all of it. So Jeff has been out of jail for 4 months.
4 months too many.
He is not keeping a low profile. He's seen all over town running errands, going in and out of his house, you know, the crime scene.
Yes.
And I don't even think he's cleaned it.
Oh, ew.
I don't see him taking that kind of time.
Yeah.
He's already let the place fall into disrepair. What is one more thing?
Yeah.
I think that
Also, that's woman's work.
Patty ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, she's not going to touch any piece of that Jezebel.
Mm-mm. And Jeff even had a full-time job now.
What? Really? Doing what?
Handyman. His brother's Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Tim is Tim. Kevin is Howdy. Mark is Nipper. James is Jeff. John is Weasel. Tim is Tim.
Yeah.
I'm missing a brother in there somewhere.
I know.
But
who cares?
yeah, I don't. But Tim is Tim. Timmer G.
Yeah. Tim or G. I'm just Tim.
That's what it feels. Everybody else has these like dumbass nicknames, and Tim is just Tim.
Yeah.
So Tim's wife's father, holy 6 degrees of separation, Batman.
Right?
Jeff's youngest brother, Tim, his wife's father.
So Tim's father-in-law.
Tim's father-in-law.
Okay.
Owns a car dealership.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother-in-law, his brother's wife talked her dad into hiring Jeff
Okay.
to do handyman work
Yeah.
at his dealership.
Let's put this like really strange, violent man.
It doesn't even feel like a real job.
I know.
And here's what's really crazy. If Jeff would have been willing to ask Tim's father-in-law for a job 8 months ago, we wouldn't even be here.
Yeah, true.
Because then he would have been making okay money, possibly with benefits.
Yeah.
And Jill would have stopped seeing Tom and recommitted to Jeff.
Sad but true.
But he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And even though Jeff is working, he is not paying the $400 a month child support that he had agreed to in the custody hearing. That's right. Not only did he drag his feet, putting the money for therapy into escrow,
Yeah.
he won't even pay the piddling. That is $200 a child.
I know.
For 50 cents a day, you feed starving children in off nations.
He wouldn't do that either.
He wouldn't, but I'm just saying, it's the equivalent of 50 cents a day for the price of a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know what? That line was better in the 90s. So like, the price of a cup of coffee is like $8.50.
I know. How the times have changed.
But I think in those old commercials from the 80s, a cup of coffee was like $1 or something.
Yeah.
50 cents.
75. If you went to a diner, 50 cents for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's based on. But now when I see it, it's like, for the price of a cup of coffee, $8.50. Maybe $10 if I get a grande.
I know, right? Some whipped cream on that.
And it just doesn't pack the same punch,
Yeah.
does it? Anyway.
No, not at all.
The Russells, though, decided we're going to make it work. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck the Cahills.
Yeah.
But this is stretching the limits of their Social Security. So even though it's fuck the Cahills, that $400 would be very helpful.
Yes.
You know,
it would make a difference.
They're all retirees. You know, I think the Russells, their house is paid for and everything, but they still got to come up with the property taxes. They still got to eat, you know. And now they're full-time parents.
Yeah.
And as more details about what happened to Jill came out, the town became divided.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. On the one side of town, there are the jocks that had grown up with Jeff and his brothers, who felt that Jill had it coming for being a cheating harlot.
Of course.
She had it coming. She had it coming. She didn't, but I can't say the words "had it coming" and not sing that song.
It's so true. Also makes me wonder what life is like in their households.
You know what? Honestly, life in their households doesn't have to necessarily be bad. You just have to be the kind of misogynistic asshole that feels that any time a woman steps out of line and disobeys, all bets are off.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be mean to your own family. You just have to hold that belief in your heart somewhere.
Yep.
And sadly, there's probably a lot of people that hold that type of belief. We just don't see it.
Because men are protagonists and women are like plot devices.
Yeah, it's a lot of more people than I'm probably comfortable with admitting probably think some version of that.
I know, right?
But it's just that in their day-to-day lives, they're mostly decent people, so they don't ever act on that belief. But it's probably in there.
Oh, yeah. And they act on it implicitly.
But that's where I'm thinking that Jeff's friends are coming from. They're not... I don't know.
I'm not saying they're punching their wives, but they don't respect them.
Yeah, somewhere in their hearts.
If you think it's okay to beat someone half to death because they cheated.
Yeah, somewhere in their hearts, they feel that Jeff was justified, even if it doesn't manifest in their regular lives. They think that. And the other people are Team Jill, who felt that no matter what Jill may have done, she could fuck all of the Buffalo Bills on her front lawn.
Yeah, true.
And that does not mean she deserved to be beaten within an inch of her life, and Jeff Cahill should be thrown under the jail.
Yes, absolutely.
That is where the little town of 18 miles outside of Syracuse is at. The jocks say she deserved it because she's a whore, and everybody else is like, fuck you, I don't care if she's a whore, you don't do that to people.
Yeah, there's no death sentence for being a whore.
Right? And she wasn't a whore, she was in a loveless marriage.
Yeah. Connected to a nest of religious freaks.
My only wish for Jill is that she would have closed the Jeff door before she opened the Tom door.
I know, yeah. I don't know if it would have made any difference.
Probably not, but at least it would have given her a better fighting chance.
Yeah, true.
While the neighbors are arguing over what should happen to Jeff, Jeff is busy brooding and researching.
Oh, God, what?
Because after taking his L's in family court, Jeff decided he needed to make sure that Jill was dead.
Oh, no.
And that poison was going to be the best way to keep Jill quiet, get out of this mess, and get his kids back.
Ugh.
Oh, it's delusional as fuck.
Yeah.
But he really seems to think that if he kills Jill, the courts will have no choice but to leave his bullshit self-defense story. The charges will be dropped, he gets the kids, and he moves on with his life like nothing happened.
I mean, so far he's going on with his life like nothing happened. They did let him go. He should have sat in jail for this.
The bail system is what it is.
Yeah.
While I
Pay for play.
While I do get frustrated when the Jeff Cahills of the world are able to scrape together a few $100,000 to make bail, I am glad that the bail system is there for people that need it. It is less than perfect, but I'd rather have the less than perfect bail system than nothing at all. But it is frustrating when the Jeff Cahills of the world make bail and some kid that got busted for shoplifting or too many tickets.
Yeah, or even just accused of stealing a backpack and end up in Rikers for 3-4 years.
Right.
Without trial.
Right. It is a less than perfect system by a long way. But I'm glad that we have it, and I just wish we did more to fix it and make it more equitable.
True. But I see why Jeff thinks I can just go on with life. Look at me going on with life anyway. It's not like I hurt a person.
It was Jill.
Yeah.
It's just Jill.
Yeah.
So Jeff decides cyanide.
God.
That's how we need to do this. Cyanide. But as crazy as he is, and he is crazy.
Yep.
I think the proper term is bug fuck.
Yes.
Bug fuck crazy.
Indeed.
But he is not so crazy to think that he could just order cyanide online and just have it delivered to his
Right.
house. He is dumb, but he is not so dumb.
Right? Even in the infancy of the internet, when it was truly wild and woolly,
Yeah.
you never knew when you were talking to a Fed.
Yeah. But he knows just enough, right?
Yeah.
So Jeff decided that his best course of action was to order the cyanide under the guise of being a legit business, then steal the arsenic from UPS.
Like off the truck?
Yes.
That is so stupid.
Now, I am not
What
one...
the Wile E. Coyote is this?
I am not one to give murder tips to assholes.
Right?
But you could just go to Home Depot and get some, like, rat poison and put it in somebody's coffee for a couple
That's
of
true.
days and get the exact same result
I know.
without this ridiculously convoluted
I
plan.
know. I guess he figured they would, like, trace that.
I don't know.
Right? I mean,
I'm just-
obviously he thinks he's being very clever.
Yes, you're very clever, Jeffrey. I mean, James. Your mama named you James. Even I forget what this
Jack?
fucker's real name is.
James, Jack, Jeff.
Nipper, Howdy, Weasel.
Yeah.
Jeff should have been called Weasel.
Yeah, absolutely.
John.
No. He should have been called Skunk.
Skunks are cute, though.
But very off-putting.
They're stinky.
Weasels can be sweet, too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. In any event, they all have horrible names. So, Jeff found a company nearby, so they're in the Syracuse-ish area, like 2 or 3 suburbs over. He found a company that used cyanide in the course of their manufacturing of metal plating products.
Okay.
Jeff decided to test how easy it would be to talk a UPS driver out of a package before he placed his order.
Oh my god.
So on July 7th, Jeff gets dressed. He's got on dress slacks, like khakis or something, nice pinstripe button-up shirt, and like a ridiculous maroon baseball cap and dark glasses.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Business casual adjacent.
Business casual. Business casual on the bottom, crazy stalker on the top.
Yes, it's the mullet of business casual.
You know, right?
And then he approached the UPS driver and asked if he had a next day delivery for GSP. That's the company that he's going to kind of try to steal this off of.
Yeah.
The UPS driver assumed that Jeff was an employee of the company, handed Jeff a bunch of packages. Jeff found a package from California and left. When the UPS driver was like, hey, I need you to sign for those. Jeff's like, my last name is Smith. And keeps it pushing. And the UPS guy's like, all right, Smith, fine, perfect.
Yeah.
I think it goes without saying that Jeff is happy to see how easy it was for him to finesse a UPS driver out of a package.
You did succeed.
So, when Jeff got home, he started looking for a cyanide provider from California. He wanted the packages from that company because he wanted to see how far away the packages came from. Because he thinks physical distance between him, the company that he's going to pretend to be, and the cyanide order is the way to foolproof this.
Okay.
And so the furthest package he found was from California.
Okay.
So now Jeff is on a mission to look for a cyanide provider from California.
Okay.
He finds one. Next, Jeff called around to GSP, the metal plating company, until he got the name of the person in charge of ordering. From there, Jeff went online, printed out the GSP logo, very crude, and he made a photocopy of their logo and made a really shitty letterhead. And this is what Jeff would use to place an order for a gram of potassium cyanide. $30. and 125 grams of sodium formate, so, which was only $15. So the cyanide by itself, you can't handle it, or you'll die.
Yeah.
And you have to put it in a carrier of some sort, and that's the sodium formate.
Okay.
$45. But to make sure that this looks super official, Jeff added $50 for shipping and handling, and another $25 to handle the cost of hazardous material shipping.
Okay.
Because he wants to make it look super legit.
Yes.
Then he signed the invoice Tracy Jones, who is the name of the GSP employee that handles supply ordering for those labs.
Okay.
All to be paid COD, cash on delivery, upon reaching general supply delivery.
Oh my God. Remember COD?
No, I don't.
I remember being advertised.
That's what I said. I don't remember. I've seen it on TV.
Yeah.
But I've never actually made a COD purchase.
Me either.
I remember being a kid thinking about it and then going, but where am I going to get the cash?
Exactly. You mean I could order it without giving the money up front? Wow.
No, by the time I got old enough to order stuff, when I was buying death metal zines and ordering forbidden death metal out of the back of foreign magazines.
Yes.
I had moved up to the world of money orders.
Yeah.
That's how I would buy my illicit rock and roll albums.
Also, that stuff was never COD.
No.
Ever.
No.
Only...
On July 9th, the same day that Jeff's cyanide order was shipped, Jeff had to attend a pre-trial hearing for his assault and attempted murder charges. For the next few days after that hearing, Jeff was stalking the UPS driver that was on the GPS route.
Yeah.
Almost every day, Jeff would ask the driver if he had a package for GSP. Once, Jeff flagged down the driver when he was in mid-route, asking for packages.
Oh my God.
So, the UPS driver has a semi-set route, right?
Yeah.
He delivers to the same 50 companies almost every day, but he doesn't always deliver in the same order. He has discretion of what goes where when. So there was one day where the driver made whatever decision that he needed to make, and he delivered to GSP earlier than usual, meaning he wasn't sitting at the Home Depot when Jeff went to stalk him. But Jeff knows this guy's route now. So if he's not at the Home Depot, he must be over here, he must be over here, he must be over there.
Yeah.
So Jeff, borrowing Mark's Jeep during all of this, because his car is either impounded or unreliable.
Yeah.
Jeff pulls over on the side of the road and just waits for the UPS driver to come by, because he knows that between here and there, this guy has got to come down this road to get to XYZ companies. And he flags that man down from the side of the road, oblivious to the fact that this is weird as fuck.
And suspicious.
And the UPS driver may want to report him to the cops or to the GSP company.
Right? Way to be memorable, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not even just standing on the side of the road, just constantly hounding this man every day for a package.
And it's weird.
Yeah. Sweaty weirdo.
So by this time, the UPS driver is tired of being accosted by this weird fucker, and he ignored Jeff. You know what? You just stay on the side of that road. I'm not talking to you.
Mow him down if you have to.
I feel it was you know what? If you catch me at the McDonald's, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But I am not going out of my way to deal with you.
No, that's so weird. I would, be weirded out by someone lying in wait for me on the side of the road. I would not engage with them.
No.
Ugh.
On July 17th, he's been at this for over 2 weeks.
God, remember before tracking numbers and live tracking?
Right.
And you just had to wait.
Oh my God, the 90s were rough, y'all.
I'm glad this was hard for him.
So July 17th, the UPS driver had just finished a delivery and he saw Jeff standing on the passenger side of his truck. Just waiting.
Ugh.
Fed up, the driver told Jeff that he was too late and I had already delivered to GSP. That's right, this man was so tired of dealing with Jeff that he moved his route around so that he could deliver to GSP first.
That's awesome.
And avoid this weirdo that is clearly stalking him for reasons that he does not understand.
Yeah. I love this level of petty. To be like, nope, I'm going to get that crap out of the way first thing. I don't care what it does to my route.
Yeah. That is the beauty of the discretion of the UPS driver. The day after that final confrontation with Jeff, the UPS driver mentions the incident to a GSP warehouse employee. This GSP employee had the job of making sure that UPS orders coming in matched his manifest. He would then sign for the stuff and then distribute it to the appropriate departments and labs within the company. Later, that same GSP dock employee would tell the cops that someone impersonating a GSB employee was stealing packages.
Oh my God.
Along with a description of Jeff in his black Jeep, which he had gotten from the UPS driver. UPS guy was like, yeah, there's this weird dude. I guess he works for you guys, but he keeps coming on my route.
Yeah.
And asking for your packages.
Exactly. Could you tell him to back off?
Like, I don't know, is he some kind of trouble or something?
Right? What's going on?
One day, during his lunch, the GSP employee, the dock worker, was heading out for lunch. And he saw Jeff's Jeep leaving the dock area. This is weird. Remember, he got the description.
Yeah.
But he's not actually had contact with Jeff. And he was like, huh, that's weird. Since Jeff was having a hard time intercepting his order from UPS, he actually resulted to placing multiple orders in hopes that he would be able to intercept the orders at the warehouse dock.
Yeah.
Because, stalking a UPS driver is not working. So Jeff has like 3 or 4 orders for cyanide with fake GSP paperwork.
I mean, no wonder he wasn't paying his child support. When does he have time to go to his job at that the car dealership when he's constantly stalking this package?
Right. So because he was never able to intercept it, at least by stalking the UPS driver, he put in like 3 or 4 orders for the cyanide.
Yeah.
Because he figured he would get one of them.
Yeah.
Right? If I don't get it off the UPS truck, I'll sneak into the docks or something and get it. The day that the GSP worker, the dock guy, saw Jeff's black Jeep driving away was the day that Jeff had finally been able to sneak into the shipping area and get his poisons.
Boo.
But what Jeff didn't know is that the GSP dock worker employee had seen him driving away and took down his license plate.
Good. Yay.
After taking down Jeff's license, the dock worker took his suspicions to Tracy Jones, who was the woman in charge of ordering supplies for this company. Tracy never saw Jeff sneaking in, but she also smelled a rat. There were 3 shipments that didn't match her manifest, and she had no records of ordering them. She dropped him off at the lab, thinking, well, maybe... What really tipped her off was that, they're a metal plating company, so they do use cyanide in their process.
But that's like a personal amount. That's not like an industrial amount.
Right. That's kind of what tipped her off.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't match their manifest, and why is it such a small amount?
Yeah.
They buy hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, I'm thinking like barrels, bags, like pallets.
They don't order a few grams. They order
that's weird.
vats of chemicals.
Yeah.
But at first she just took them to the lab. She was like, here's your stuff. And they're like, we don't need these. Also, why would I only want a gram?
Yeah.
When Tracy called the company who had shipped the chemicals, they told her, look, the order was faxed in. I did my job.
Yeah.
So Tracy's like, do me a favor. Will you fax me a copy of that order form?
Mm.
And the minute she saw it, she knew it was fake.
Yeah.
Not only because it was poorly done, but this is a fairly large laboratory corporation, right? All of their orders go out on a special form. They have a requisition form for orders for supplies.
Yeah.
Like for chemicals, they got a special requisition form. They got a requisition form for office supplies.
Yeah.
They have forms
Yeah.
for what they need to get done. They do not place any orders on generic letterhead. And to add insult to injury, Tracy's name was misspelled, and the position that Jeff said that she had doesn't exist in this company. Like,
that jerk.
She spells her name Tracy. He spelled it Tracey. And he said that she was supposed to be like head of shipping and receiving. That's not a title.
Yeah.
Her title was something very different.
Head of logistics.
Yeah, some shit like that. The police would later find that on July 17th, another GSP employee had reported a man in a maroon hat, dark glasses, looking for the shipping department, saying that he was looking for a package that had been shipped from California. The employee sent the guy to the front desk, but he never showed up at the front desk. And in the end, Tracy reported these strange incidents to her boss, who in turn reported this information to the cops.
Good.
Somebody's trying to steal industrial chemicals.
Yeah.
Why?
Right?
The cops ran the plates back on the Jeep. And they traced back to Jeff's brother, Mark, in New York City. He lives in the big city. He's a fancy stockbroker now. Yeah. The cops ran Mark's name, but since his name came up clean, they didn't look any further.
Oh, God.
You gotta remember, this is a slightly separate jurisdiction from the people that are looking into Jeff. So this company and these other cops are like 2-3 suburbs over.
Yeah.
Not 18 miles out. They're 25 miles outside of Syracuse, not 18.
Man, and this is pre 9/11 too. It's like, you would think they'd be a little more curious about someone who's that dogged and trying to get his hands on, like, they must know it's cyanide.
They know.
I mean,
they know that somebody has tried to steal no less than 3 to 5 grams of cyanide.
Yeah, a personal amount.
And they said, well, there's nothing left to see here.
They don't like homework.
Even though the cops handling the package thefts at GSP put the information around this package theft investigation into their computer system, right? But they're a different jurisdiction than the people looking into Jeff.
Yeah.
So the information about stolen chemicals and the Cahills never made it to Jeff's investigators.
That's a shame.
None of the package thief cops, they didn't even recognize the name Cahill.
Well, I mean...
No, it was weird. This case has been all over the local news in the Syracuse... let's call it the Syracuse metro area, right? Yeah. Syracuse and let's say the 15 suburbs that surround it within 50 miles.
Yeah.
This is the biggest case this area of New York has seen in some years.
Yeah.
Jeff Cahill is on the news every day, all day.
Yeah.
People are talking about Jill. What's going on with her? Is he really going to be convicted?
Yeah, some people are terminally disinterested.
You would think that the name Cahill would spark something.
Yeah.
Because it's all over the news.
Yeah.
But, like we say, cops hate homework.
They're probably too busy just doing anything else but staying abreast of current events.
All that was mentioned was that the chemicals had been missing for approximately 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That there wasn't enough to manufacture anything, so they weren't, worried about meth or crank or anything. But there was enough to use as a poison.
Right?
Made note that somebody could die from this, but we're not going to look for it.
Yeah.
So, Jeff has stolen his poisons.
That boy is poison.
He's got poisons. Poisons.
Personal amount of poisons.
Right? Even the cops are like, he can't make anything or do, like, real damage, but he could poison someone with that much.
Do you think they would have been more curious if he had, like, stolen, like, a more hefty amount?
No, I think they would have been more upset if he would have stolen a bunch of cold medicine.
Oh, this is for enjoyment? Yeah. Is someone trying to have fun?
Yeah. I say that because I'm still, like, getting the crud double back.
Yeah.
The crud spun the block on me.
Exactly. And
Remix.
Inflation has hit the medicine cabinet.
And, and I had to get some pills, some Sudafeds, whatever, because of the crud. And I bought 2 boxes because Honey Bear got the crud too.
Aw.
One for me, one for him. And I had to do the thing. I promised not to make meth.
Yeah.
Type shit.
On my honor, I will not purchase this in order to make meth.
That's basically what they do when they card you. That's basically what they're saying.
Sign the pledge. Sign the pledge.
And so I think he would have gotten in more trouble if he tried to buy 6 boxes of cold medicine.
Probably.
Than he did for stealing the fucking cyanide. Anyway, after stealing the poison, Jeff stashed them away for a few weeks and got ready for his trial. That's right, he's still going to go to trial for assault, people.
Man.
Assault.
It's something.
His defense was going to be a combination of self-defense and just be sad for me.
Yeah. Aw, I'm a poor little small boy who's been abused and used and
My wife is mean to me.
She's so mean.
And I had to defend myself against her meanness. And his defense was moving to suppress Jeff's confession and the ridiculous amount of blood evidence.
Oh my God.
That was in that house.
There
was so much blood in that house. You could see where the fight started, how it raged through the house.
Yeah.
There was even a blood trail that went out the mudroom, out the back door, landed in the grass, and you could see where Jill had been stopped. And then there was a second blood trail for where she was dragged back into the house. That's how much blood there was.
Yeah.
They could.
That is so scuzzy to try to suppress that evidence. It's like, no, fuck you. Fuck you, there's no reason to suppress that. Other than this looks really bad.
But they're also doing their job as defense attorneys. When Jeff was getting ready to present his defense, Jill had been moved to the coma recovery ward where she was recovering from yet another surgery. I think she was 18 in a 90-day period or something like that.
Dang. That's a lot. That's so much trauma for one body.
By this time, Jill had been in the hospital for about 8 months. And Patty Cahill finally came to pay Jill a visit.
Oh, gross.
I mean, gross, but it took her 8 months.
I know. It's like, just stay away. If it took you that long, just stay away. I would not let her within, like, 3 feet of her.
That's basically what the Russells said. Don't let the hoe in. No.
Right?
She's gonna throw holy water and infect her wounds.
Exactly. Anything to get her to not testify or, I don't know, witness against her son.
Just be a weirdo.
Yeah.
Or upset her in a way that gives her a setback. Yeah. But Jill's doctor said it may be good for Patty to see what Jeff had done. The Cahills are kind of in denial. Like, it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
Why can't they just let it go?
Yeah.
Jeff said he was sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry will only get you so far.
Yeah.
Yes,
True.
it is an attempt to take accountability, but it doesn't change what you did.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So Patty's visit with Jeff was scheduled for 11 a.m., but Patty was in the waiting room when the Russells got there, so she got there at like 10 and just sat in the waiting room outside of Jill's room.
Psycho.
Buttoned up all tight with her Bible, rosary, and a wee cooler full of yogurt.
Weird.
Because of all of the surgeries, Jill is on a soft diet. And so one of the few things she could eat is yogurt.
Yeah.
So Patty's trying to bring food.
Oh, I would dump it out immediately.
But mind you, we know about the poisons.
I know.
Everybody else at large at this point does not know. We know.
Yeah.
They don't. So, yes, from our vantage point, no food, no drink.
Yeah.
But Patty don't know. Joan was trying to come up with a reason not to let Patty in that room.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
But she saw Patty walking with Fred towards Jill's room. She's like, fucking Fred. Too late.
Yeah.
Once inside the room, Patty didn't speak to anyone, and she watched the nurses help Jill into a wheelchair. And then once they got her in the wheelchair, Patty pushed the nurses out of the way and said she wanted to push Jill down the hall to therapy. Yeah, so Patty just pushed her down the hall to therapy. The whole time she's just jibber-jabbing about plants and dumb shit.
Anything to avoid what's happening before our eyes, right? I'm guessing.
By mid-October, Jill was inching back to life.
Yay!
But she still couldn't talk. Some of her besties were having a fundraiser to help the Russells and take some of the financial edge. Remember, the Russells are retired.
Yeah.
They got savings, 401ks, yada, 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 yada.
But this is like 8 months straight in the hospital, 19 surgeries. This is medical bankruptcy is coming.
Right.
Sooner than later.
Plus children.
Yeah.
When her friends tried to show her the glowing article about the fundraiser, because everybody's very excited, Jill cried and kept slapping the paper out of their hands.
Oh.
In the moment, they thought Jill was just having a bad day.
Yeah.
People with traumatic TBIs often have bad days. But in hindsight, they wonder if Jill was trying to tell them that Jeff had come to visit.
Oh. Oh my God. The
fundraiser was thrown for Jill, and it was a rousing success, raising over $60,000. While the fundraising event was in full swing, the local news knocked on Jeff's door. And when he answered, the news people asked him how he felt about a fundraiser being held for his family. You deadbeat. That part was me editorial.
Yeah. But it was the subtext.
Jeff slammed the door and didn't say anything, but people who saw the interview, and well, interview such as it is, right?
Yeah.
People that saw the footage on the news said that it was clear that Jeff was angry and embarrassed.
Good.
And not just about them showing up in his house, like about the fundraiser.
But being called a bum.
Yeah.
Very publicly, on television, for everyone's televisual pleasure. Look at this bum.
And which is right and true. On October 26th, the day after the fundraiser, Jill's friends were wrapping up the last of the fundraising work, sending packages, depositing checks. They'd done some like silent auction stuff. Remember, these are all very crafty, very artsy people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of handmade pottery.
Nice.
Maybe some handmade things from Jill's collection, stuff like that they're auctioning off. When they saw Jeff driving down the street in Mark's black Jeep around 4 p.m. Driving fast, too. Where the fuck he going? He ain't got no family. He ain't got no job. Where he rushing to?
Exactly.
When the Russells picked the kids up from school, they saw that Mary had completed her bug project. When the Russells asked Mary if her grandparents had helped her finish it, Mary happily told the Russells that her dad finished it for her and Grandma Cahill had brought it to the school. The Russells did report this violation of the restraining order and the custody agreement. Remember, their agreements are in place.
Yeah.
And then they just took the kids to go see Jill. All they can do is report.
Yeah. True.
As the family walked into Jill's room, there were pictures of Jeff at the nurse's station, at the hospital security desk,
Good.
and in front of Jill's room. Kids didn't seem to notice the pictures of their dad everywhere.
Good.
And that is where I will leave you.
Oh, that is mean. You're so mean.
It's what I do.
It's true, and you're so good at it.
Good at this game. And on that note, I've been Samara and her creeping crud.
Yes, and I've been Jeannie.
And this has been Talk Deadly to Me. Beep, 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 beep.